We describe the foundations of the creation of the State of Israel in the beginning of the 20th century. The expulsion of the Jews from Jerusalem by the Romans in 136 fed a larger Jewish diaspora that found the faithful persecuted throughout the world for millennium. The World Zionist movement began as a group who tied themselves to those who practiced spiritual Zionism, which was the belief that Palestine would always be the spiritual home of Judaism. Followers would say next year in Jerusalem and offer up prayers for a return to Jerusalem known as the Aliyah. It was rooted in the tradition of the return from the Exodus and of the Babylonian captivity. Zionism was also attracted to Western Protestants. Resettlement funds were raised within Protestant and Jewish communities and financed by wealthy individuals like the Rothschilds. In 1894, journalist Theodor Herzl witnessed the outcome of the Dreyfus Affair. He saw French citizens chanting "Death to the Jews," and then he witnessed the Russian pogroms. He concluded that hatred towards the Jews would always be part of the European mindset. He called for an independent state where Jews could no longer be outsiders, but one people again. He gave birth to political Zionism and the World Zionist Organization with an annual congress. A chemist named Dr. Chaim Weizmann would lead the organization after Herzl's death. Under the belief that moderation and gradualism were what was needed for success, Jewish institutions and settlements would have to be built and nurtured in Jerusalem in diplomacy, not force. His adopted home of the United Kingdom had been debating that issue for a century under conservative government and Prime Minister Benjamin Disraeli, a Jewish descendant. In 1906, the British backed the Zionist Uganda plan to create a homeland in Uganda. Weizmann pushed back. Weizmann used the connections he was making through the chemical munitions work he was doing on acetone for World War I. Prime Minister Lloyd George, T.E. Lawrence, and Lord Balfour were among his biggest supporters for the gradual settlement and state building in Palestine plan. In fact, when Balfour became Foreign Secretary, he made an official call for a Jewish homeland in Palestine, known as the Balfour Declaration. During World War I, T.E. Lawrence, known popularly as Lawrence of Arabia, led a successful pro-Arab revolt in Palestine against the Ottoman Empire. The revolt was organized by King Hussein and Prince Faisal of Mecca. Faisal's family were the Hashemite rulers of Mecca under the Ottoman Turks. The family had planned a local revolt to re-establish Arab control of Mecca against the Turks, but Faisal dreamed of a larger regional revolt that would re-establish Arab rule across the Middle East, including Palestine. His plans lined up with the British, French, and Zionist plans of World War I. However, despite English promises of a free and independent Arab state, the UK and France were working on their own plans to carve up the Middle East. The Sykes-Picot Agreement would allow the British and the French to carve up the region, giving the British a mandate over Palestine and the promised homeland for the Jews. The Arab revolt was not on the same page, and they took over Damascus to secure an Arab capital for Faisal's new government, which led to a war between the French and Faisal, giving the French Syria and also inflaming Arab nationalism in the region, which would upset the Zionist goals.